interactive dashboard to develop real-time what-if scenarios. Surely someone on city staff is capable of using this spreadsheet to assess the impacts of higher water costs spread across a lower volume being used due to water restrictions. There is no reason to pay a high-cost consultant to do the work the city should be able to do in-house. What council needs to be looking at instead are the ways the city is milking the utilities like a cash cow, such as the almost five-fold increase in administrative transfers over the last 2 years. You also need to ask why none of the $67.9 million in projects that were built into the new utility rates haven't been funded.
I have one filled out form by Jeff Hutt. If you'll come to the podium and give us your name, and you got 3 minutes, sir.
Jeff Hutt. I'm here to speak about the newspaper. As y'all know, I've never been a big fan of the Pilot, and so I'm not here as in terms of like for the Pilot, but small town papers are really important to the communities. I come from a newspaper family. They have local news, they have local connections. They go back, 150 years with our community. And I understand maybe that you don't like what the newspaper is putting out, and I know that you have an excuse why you can maybe change newspapers, but this newspaper, a lot of the notices that you have, it really drives their income base and it keeps somebody here. And it's really hard for local communities to lose a local newspaper and then to have another newspaper come in later and fill that place. And the Corpus Christi Caller-Times is a decent paper. I don't take the Corpus Christi Caller-Times. Nobody I know who takes the Corpus Christi Caller-Times. I understand that new legislation and the fact that they went back to 1 day a week has really changed and made it kind of difficult on your staff. All of the other entities have the same requirements and they're still using the Pilot. So we can have disagreements with people, but we can't burn down the castle when we do, because then we just ruin something for everybody who came out after us. If you don't like the press coverage, suffer through it. Like, it's the press. There's a freedom of the press to write and say what they want to. I don't always agree with what the Pilot says. I do like it a little bit more. I think it's more down the middle than it was before, but that's just my opinion. But I think it's really important for our community that we keep the Pilot. And one of the ways that we keep the Pilot is that we help fund it through our own tax dollars. And why are we going to send tax dollars to pay for somebody in Corpus Christi when those tax dollars goes to support a family in Rockport? I think it's a much better idea. But I have to go. My wife has work for me, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hutt. Next item on the agenda is ceremonial matters, proclamation, and employee recognition. We have tenure presentation by the city manager.
All right, we have Tenure Tuesday again. We have 2 people this week. I think that Mike is not here. Mike Levine Jr. has been with the fleet department for 5 years, so I'm gonna hand this to Ryan to get to him.
Let him know. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Christy Stevens. She's been with us for 10 years. Let's do this. Here's your pen. And you've been with the court most of the time.
Right.
And she hopped over to PD for a little bit.
Right.
And now we're back with court.
Right.
Okay. Turn around so we can get a picture here. Thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll have a presentation for the city of Rockport by Congressman Michael Cloud's office. And I caught you while you're trying to get a drink right quick.
Just in
Don't
time.
blame me.
So sorry. Oh, gosh. How are y'all?
Fine, how are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. Well, we just wanted to, on behalf of Congressman Cloud and everybody in the 27th Congressional District, present you with a special recognition to the city of Rockport in recognition of being named the Redfish capital of Texas. Your leadership and stewardship continue to make Rockport a destination where residents and visitors alike can experience the unique charm, culture, and sport fishing excellence that define this great community. And it's signed by Congressman Cloud. So we're so proud of you guys, and we're proud that you're in our district, and appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda is special presentation. Consider approval of Resolution 2025-38R, accepting the 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report prepared by Armstrong, Vaughn Associates. Mr. Sorrell.
Good evening, council, mayor. Hopefully we have Sarah on the line. She can hear me.
Yes, I am here. Can y'all hear me?
Hi, Sarah. Great. Sarah is with our new audit firm of Armstrong, Vaughn Associates. They were gracious enough to help us finish our fiscal year in 2024 audit, and did it with professionalism and treated us very, very well. Sarah has her BBA in accounting from the University of Houston. She has her master's of accountancy from the University of Texas at San Antonio, and she's also a Texas certified public accountant. And so with that, Sarah, I'll turn it over to you to let you present the audit.
Perfect. Thank you, Robbie. And thank you all so much for having me today. As Robbie mentioned, I had the pleasure of working on the fiscal year 2024 audit. Before I forget to mention them, I did want to give a shout out to Robbie, Lorenzo, and the rest of the Rockport team for all of their help in allowing us to be here to present the annual financial report today. Of course, I'd prefer to be there in person, but I understand the urgency to get the 2024 audit completed. We are currently working with staff to get the 2025 audit done by March, and I intend to be there in person for that meeting. Does everyone who needs a copy have a copy of the annual financial report, the audit highlights page, and the communication to those charged with governance?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. I'm not gonna go through each page of the annual report or the letter, trying to be cognizant of y'all's time. I'm just gonna go over the audit highlights with you guys. So if y'all are wondering which page I'm looking at, that's where I'm focusing. And so that was a single page, and it's just called audit highlights. It kind of came with the packet. Yes, that page. So that's where I'm planning to spend most of my time today, unless you guys have any questions for me on the contents of the report or anything. So first off, we issued a clean, unmodified opinion for fiscal year 2024. That's the best audit opinion the city can get. It indicates that the city's financial statements are presented fairly and comply with applicable accounting standards. I didn't explicitly include the single audit in the audit highlights page, but I did want to point out that that also received a clean opinion, and we had no findings related to the single audit, so that was great. We also did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal controls. However, we did identify a couple of areas for improvement. These are mentioned in that letter to those charged with governance as well. The Public Funds Investment Act, or PFIA, requires at least one training session of 10 hours within 12 months of taking office. And then additionally, every 2 years, investment officers are required to take 8 hours of instruction. And during our audit, we noted that not all of the investment officers were up to date on their PFIA trainings. Also, on a related note, the PFIA also requires that investment officers sign and present at least quarterly investment reports to the city council, which didn't seem to be done regularly in fiscal year 2024. The other area for improvement I wanted to point out was that the city uses the accounts receivable module of Encode to bill entities for services, fees, or other general matters. Encode will track the balance owed by the entities, and we noted that the balances as of September 30th, 2024 seem to include some delinquent amounts from several routine entities. We also noted several that went back years and may no longer be recoverable. So the city should research the outstanding balances and clean up accounts that are not collectible, or contact the entities that have valid outstanding balances. Okay, I'm gonna pause there for any questions. Any questions on what I've covered so far, like the results of the audit? Okay, good deal. Let's dive into the financial statements then. In the general fund, there are a couple of things I wanted to highlight. First off, revenues increased by just under $1 million from the previous year and surpassed the budgeted expectations. This increase is primarily due to an increase in property tax revenue. Expenses also decreased from the previous year and ended up coming out well under budget. So you were able to add about $739,000 to your fund balance for the general fund. So you ended the 2024 fiscal year with a general fund balance of $4.6 million. This is the amount of money you were able to roll into 2025. And it's common to compare that to how many months of your budget it would cover. So that's about 5.3 months. You can see this trend has been adding to that number, and 5 months is a healthy operational cushion. So very good there. Additionally, in the water sewer fund, revenues decreased by about 2% from the previous year, and expenses increased by about 7%. The fund added about $771,000 to its net position. However, a lot of that is tied up in long-term assets and debt, but it still has $10 million in working capital available to it, which is significant operational cushion as well. Okay, and then down below those first two tables with general fund and water and sewer fund, you'll see the other significant fund balances. So this just highlights some information about trends in the fund balances of other funds and your pension funding ratio. I wanted to highlight that the tax notes and the general capital improvement funds, just a couple things there. The $6.7 million in the general capital improvement funds can be used for major repairs, renovations, and improvements to facilities and infrastructure, usually financed through a capital budget. And the fiscal year 2025 budget seemed to include about $2.3 million of 2025 tax note proceeds to continue to finance these projects. So just a little note on the plan that seems to be in place there. You may also have noticed that the tax notes fund balance went to zero in fiscal year 2024. That's just because the construction projects were being paid out of the general capital improvement, and the tax notes funds had not been reimbursing the other fund. And then that reimbursement was actually done for the 2024 audit. So that is about all I had. Does anyone have any questions on anything I've just covered on the highlights page, or the report itself, or the letter to those charged with governance?
Questions, council?
I do. I have a question.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if this is something that you can answer, or maybe Robbie and Vanessa. You mentioned that there were some liabilities, some bills that were outstanding that we may not be able to recover in your earlier conversation. And I understand that happens from time to time, but have we put anything in place to try to minimize that in the future? Is there anything that you can recommend, or has Robbie and his team come up with something to try to minimize any write-offs and folks that owe us money and what have you that we are not going to be able to recover in the future?
Yes, we're reviewing those older receivables, and we are putting in place some measures to be reviewing those billings as they go out, and make sure that they are staying current, and then doing follow-up letters with, if most of those are, not most of them, but many of them are property damages within our territory. And so it's following up with those and making sure that we're getting those collected.
I think it's of note that some of these go back as far as 2017.
Or 2019,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So they're
2020.
old.
Yes.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you. I had asked questions you guys gave us the report last week, and I do appreciate that. And it was, just for us to go over it and actually go in depth in what the financial report is. And I know I had asked a bunch of questions, and I did appreciate you guys answering those in a timely manner so it could help us move forward and get this done on our report so we can go on to the 2024-2025 report. So thank you. I just want to say I really do appreciate that.
This gets the city caught up in, since at least the previous administration. This is the first time. So we're happy, and it's been a group effort. It's taken the entire city doing this to get us there. So we appreciate the support.
Anyone else? I'd like to say, Robbie, thank you for the hard work you did on all this. I know that you were sweating bullets half the time, and your hair's getting gray, and you lost a lot of weight. So there was a lot of work going on with the staff, trying to get the audit in, and it took some time, and I appreciate the fact you stayed with it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, next item on the agenda.
Motion to accept.
Okay, I hadn't seen it down there further on the agenda. So.
Is Sarah still there?
Mayor, I move to approve. Do what? Oh. Are we finished with the presentation?
Yes, yes. If no questions, we are.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2025-38R, accepting the 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report prepared by Armstrong, Vaughn Associates.
Have a motion to have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further question? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It is unanimous. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Next item, presentation by Nick Winkleman with City of Corpus Christi and Brian Williams from San Pat Water District regarding the status of water.
Great, good afternoon, everyone. Is this on there? Yep, there we go. So I'm not Nick, I'm Peter. And you're gonna hear from Nick momentarily. I'm Peter Zanoni, the city manager from the City of Corpus Christi. I'm just gonna do some opening remarks and then turn it over to Nick Winkleman, our Chief Operating Officer of our department known as Corpus Christi Water. And then Brian Williams, our partner in water, especially in this region, will also present tonight. And so we're here on somewhat of a tour in the coastal bend, at least in those 7 counties that we provide water to let individuals know, in this case, the city council and the community that may be listening, to let you all know how we're doing with water supply in what seems to be a drought of record. And so they don't tell you the drought of record until it's over. But just this week, with our National Weather Service briefings that we receive weekly, they did confirm it's been since the spring of 2021, so almost 4.5 years ago, that we had any significant rain in our region. So this drought that we're seeing is 4.5 years old or long. And for us in Corpus Christi and for the customers that we serve in a 7-county region, surface water is our primary water source. And so when it doesn't rain, our water supplies dwindle. And in the city of Corpus Christi, or not too far from them, in Mathis, we have our 2 what we refer to as our western reservoirs, Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon. And prior to this drought, those 2 big bodies of water provided about 70% of water to all of our customers. Today, it's less than 30% of the water comes from those 2 sources because of their supply. It's in the 10.5% or so, the combined levels of both of those reservoirs. So with that, what we have done is brought more water into the region through what is known as our Mary Roads pipeline, to where today we're bringing 70% of our water, nearly 70% from eastern sources, so Lake Texana and the lower Colorado River. That's replaced the water that doesn't exist today in our 2 western reservoirs. But we're doing more than just that, and that's what Nick's gonna is gonna give you an update on. We know that you all here in Rockport, just like we in Corpus Christi, just like Aransas Pass and Portland and many of our customers, we're all worried about what's gonna happen as time progresses. And we're talking now about a year, when we'll be in a situation if we don't get any rain beyond normal that we've seen in the last couple of years. And if we don't bring on additional supplies quick enough, what will happen then is that supply won't meet demand. And so it's not that we're gonna run out of water, it's just we can model out, or we have modeled out, that supply won't meet demand. But what Nick's gonna tell you is that we're trying to beat those odds, and we're working 7 days a week to do that. And that means bringing on even more water, in this case primarily from ground wells, from groundwater from wells. And then there's projects for the near term, like the well water, midterm, like our Inner Harbor desalination project that's back on the table. And then long term, another big desal plant at Harbor Island, the Gulf desal plant, or a location known as Barney Davis, the power plant there on the south side of Corpus Christi. So those are long-term plans, but the immediate is what we're most focused on. And that's what we're gonna talk to you about tonight. We feel generally confident that we're gonna beat the forecast, meaning we don't wanna get into this situation where supply isn't enough of the demand. And we're working hard to do that, and we're gonna explain that to you tonight. So tonight, us being here at the City of Rockport is part of our strategy to go out into the community, whether it's a city council or community groups or town halls in some of the rural parts of Nueces and San Patricio County. We're doing that over these next 2 to 3 months if it takes. Just so people have good information from us, make sure you hear it firsthand from us, what we're doing. And then also to get feedback. So we're anxious to see if there's anything you want to tell us or concerns. That's why we're here tonight as well, is to listen. In this case, we'll listen to the city council about some of your concerns or issues. And so we're here to tell you some information, but we're also here to listen. So just before I get into this slideshow here, I guess, is it on the slide? There's a presentation up there. Okay, here we go. So before I just have a few slides here to talk to you about the community outreach, but before I do that, just to put it into context, so the city of Corpus Christi and Corpus Christi Water, we are the regional water provider, both in terms of planning and then distribution, not just for the city of Corpus Christi, but for a 7-county region. And so we impact about 500,000 people every day through water delivery service. In the case of Rockport and Aransas Pass, we'll be there next week. Our water goes to San Patricio Water District, and then that's where you buy your water from. And Brian Williams will talk to you about that. But all the water originates from our sources in Corpus Christi, ultimately, for a 7-county region. 500,000 people depend on us every day. And we take that seriously. We're the region's water provider. We know that in the past, we haven't kept up with infrastructure or with new water sources. And so in these past, I've been the city manager there for 6 years now in Corpus Christi, 6.5 years. So we have really elevated and put into fast track, bringing on more water sources for the immediate, the mid and long term, so we don't end up in this situation again. So every daily on a summer day and a peak production day, just to give you some context, we either treat and then sell, or some of our customers draw raw water. And so in the peak production times, it's 130 million gallons a day. That's what we need to satisfy all the customers. That includes residential, commercial, and industrial customers, 130 million. So the city of Rockport uses about 3 million a day, just to put it into context. About 60% of our water goes to large volume users, like our heavy industry, and that's good. We need those customers. We support industry, so industry like Valero and Flint Hills and Oxy, just a few. So 60% of our water goes to them, but a lot goes to, the remainder goes to residential and then commercial accounts. So 130 million a day. What used to come out of Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon was about 60 million gallons on a good day. And so that's not happening today. So the goal is to replace the 60 million, both short-term and then maybe even in the future, so we don't get into this situation again. So to get out into the community, that's what we've been doing, and make sure this thing is advancing. It's on. Let's see, I'll try it again. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Okay, so we've started already, and just to share with you, just so you have some context, we've been out in the communities talking both in San Patricio County and Nueces County, numerous town hall business type meetings. The ones I want to highlight here is on October 28th. We had a big town hall north of Robstown for those folks there, because we're drawing groundwater from Nueces County. We want to make sure they know what we're doing. They actually organized the meeting on the 28th of October. We attended. There was a lot of people there, probably 200 people, I would imagine. And we had a good conversation for over 2 hours about what we were doing in our, what we call our Nueces River Wells project. And then we went to the San Patricio Commissioners Court recently, talked to Judge Krebs and the commissioners there with their Monday morning business meetings. That was helpful for them. And then we actually got invited to, or I asked to be invited, and we went to the San Patricio State of the County. That was just last week, and we presented to that captive audience as well on the situation. Now here, we're in your council chambers here, and I'm not sure you, maybe just if somebody could advance it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so today Nick actually presented to a group in Corpus Christi, but we're here at the city of Rockport today, and I did get a chance to work with the city manager recently in a regional city managers type conference, and she's the one that said, hey, if you can make it to Rockport, please come over, and so we're here today for that. Next week we'll be in Aransas Pass talking to that city council, and we know the mayor and city manager are here tonight. And then next week also, we're going to the Lavaca Navidad River Authority out in East Texas. They are the authority that manages that reservoir that we draw most of our water from today, Lake Texana. And so we'll be talking to their board of directors. We went there about a year ago, and we're going back this next week to talk to them again. And then a big meeting the week of Thanksgiving will be at the San Patricio Fairgrounds, San Patricio County Fairgrounds, to let those individuals know about our groundwater project in that neighborhood. The Evangeline is what it's known as, the Evangeline Groundwater Project. So that's our public engagement. We're available if anybody's listening here, whether in the chambers or on live. We're willing to go to any place to let everybody know what we're doing with water, so we encourage outreach there. And with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Nick Winkleman, who's going to give you information on how we're bringing additional water on and why we feel confident that we can stave off curtailment that could hit us if we don't bring on more water. And so with that, we'll invite Nick up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Nick Winkleman, Interim Chief Operating Officer, Corpus Christi Water. So I want to thank our city manager for the introduction and the detail of all the work that we're doing. And I appear to be having similar issues on the. Okay, we'll get that figured out. So the first project I want to talk about, and as the city manager stated, there's a lot of work going on every single day. The team is working very hard. We have been, and we're going to continue to do so. The first project I would like to talk about is what we refer to as our Nueces Groundwater Program. So this program, we took a playbook from what the city did in the 80s and 90s. During the droughts of that period, we had a number of water wells drilled and constructed on private property along the Nueces River. We pumped water from those wells and pumped it into the Nueces River and used the river as a conduit or a conveyance to transport the water to our intake at the Owen Stevens Water Treatment Plant. Earlier this year actually late last year and earlier this year in January, we investigated 9 of those existing wells, and they were drilled, and one of them went back into the 50s. It was drilled in, but those wells were found to not be viable. Casings had collapsed, screens had failed, so we needed to move quickly. So what we did is we looked at city-owned property. That previous program, as I said, was on private property. So we looked at city-owned property, and the city had property they owned along the Nueces River. That property alone allowed us to drill 8 wells along the Nueces River. All 8 of those wells are operational, and they're producing water, and it's being introduced into the Nueces River, where it conveys to our river intake at the Owen Stevens Treatment Plant. One of the challenges of the project is there wasn't electric power there, and by that I mean there wasn't service to supply to operate our 3-phase 480-volt submersible well pumps. So we're fortunate. We've got a great gas department at the city of Corpus Christi. We worked with them. They installed gas lines, and we are operating those wells currently on gas generators. So we're really fortunate for that. And then the other advantage we had is our CCW team. We know water lines. We can install water lines, and we did all that work in-house, essentially delivering a well field consisting of 8 wells with the potential to pump up to 10 MGD. And with the gas, the generators, the electrical controls, and the water lines, we did that in a period of 7 months. So we're really excited and we're proud of it as well. So the other part of the Nueces program is the city did a study approximately in 2011 timeframe to look at groundwater in Nueces County. One of the areas they identified for potential higher quality groundwater was near the Blunser area. So with the support of our city council, we purchased 250 acres on that property, and we are currently developing wells on that property. 4 wells are drilled. We are currently drilling the 5th well, and we are also equipping them at the same time with the permanent pumping equipment. Those wells will be powered by electric, so we're working with our partners at NEC to provide power to that well field. CCW again is doing the install of the water lines, all in an effort to move as quick as possible. We are anticipating that well field will produce approximately 17 to 18 million gallons a day. So combined, both the eastern and western well field would be approximately 28 million gallons a day. And with the western well field, our timeline is to have that well field fully online by May of 2026. Now, we do hope to we're working towards partial delivery of that water by the end of this calendar year. And we've secured some additional easements this week, which will make that possible. One key note for this project is we've got state support. The state of Texas is providing a $30 million grant in support of this project so we can get this completed. Additionally, we have what's called a bed and banks permit. We have 1 bed and banks permit in hand for our eastern well field. And we're working with TCEQ on the 2nd permit for the western well field. And there we go. So our next groundwater project, and again, these are quick turn, these are short term projects so that we can bring water on quicker. It doesn't mean the projects stop. It doesn't mean when the western reservoirs fill, We abandon the assets, we will maintain the assets, but the key, we will be operating them significantly until, as the drought persists. Once the drought, once we get rainfall and the drought lessens, then we can relax these assets and go more into a maintenance mode. But the other groundwater project is in San Patricio County. It's commonly referred to as the Evangeline project. The city of Corpus Christi has engaged a very strong consulting team providing professional services that consists of Pape Dawson, Hanson Engineering, HDR, and Interra to move forward so we can deliver this project as quick as possible. What is the project? The project is a groundwater project that will deliver a target of 24 million gallons a day. The project will be developed north of Sinton, and the key to this project is location. And I talked earlier at a business association meeting, and they certainly understood how important location was. So the key to this project is location and proximity to the Mary Roads pipeline. The Mary Road pipeline essentially runs across the front door of this property. That's key because the groundwater from this, developed from this property, can be inputted into the Mary Roads pipeline and then conveyed to the Owen Stevens water treatment plant. There's a couple of caveats associated with that and conditions, because the Mary Roads pipeline is a very complex pipeline, consists of multiple pumping stations. So some of those things are, we need to operate the pipeline at what's called Schedule 4 or higher flow rates, which we are. We're currently operating it at 72 million gallons a day today. And then the other key fact is we need our partners, San Patricio Municipal Water District, to continue their offtake from the pipeline as well. They currently have a connection point on that pipeline. The project is moving very fast, and we are pushing our team to meet a goal of having partial delivery by November 2026. And I'll explain further on in the presentation why those dates are important. So when we look at the partial goal, I mean, ideally we'd like to see 12 MGD by November 2026. But we're working close with AEP. The team is working diligently to finalize the design and the connection point on the Mary Roads pipeline. We've also got continued hydrogeology ongoing for the project. And in fact, the preliminary hydrogeology reports that were prepared, we hired as part of our due diligence effort. We hired an independent hydrogeologist to verify those, and they concurred with the findings. So we're very excited about that. The next project is, we call it our reclaimed water, our water reuse project. So the city of Corpus Christi has 6 wastewater treatment plants. They treat and produce a large amount of effluent each and every day. Some of that effluent can be reused by some of our larger industrial customers in their processes. And why is that key? Because if they can use the wastewater effluent, that offsets the demand from our potable system. If we can reduce that demand, that in turn will improve our ability to meet for our supply to meet our needs. There's a couple of interesting things if you look at it. Some of the plants it goes back to location again, are very well located and can be used by one of our industrial customers rather easily. Some of the plants will need conveyance lines to get that effluent water to the right spot. So we've got one project that will take effluent water from our Oso wastewater treatment plant to our Greenwood wastewater treatment plant, where we will construct a ground storage tank, and then that water can go to a number of different users, which is good. The interesting thing is, the largest plant in town is the Oso wastewater treatment plant, and it's one of the furthest away from the people who need it. But that's okay. We like challenges. We deal with them every day, and we've got a great team of engineers on board. All that being said, and the city manager brought it up earlier, it's very important to not just look near term, but midterm and long term. One thing I want to emphasize is the importance of having a diversified water supply. If you have a diversified supply, then you can manage your portfolio. In other words, if there's significant drought right now, and if we have a fully developed groundwater supply, we can utilize that. If there's plenty of surface water available, you wouldn't have to utilize your groundwater supply. And then the third spoke to that wheel would be seawater. We know seawater is a consistent supply, and that would complement the water supply portfolio. So if you look at the surface water, the city of Corpus Christi has done an excellent job of maximizing its surface water sources. Today they consist of Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon Reservoir. We refer to those as our western supply. And then our eastern supply consists of Lake Texana, which is contractual water through the Lavaca Navidad River Authority. And then we have water rights on the Colorado River. The Mary Roads pipeline pumps water 101 miles from Lake Texana to the Owen Stevens Water Treatment Plant. And our intake on the Colorado River is an additional 40 miles away from there. So we've got water traveling about 144 miles from the Colorado River to the Owen Stevens Water Treatment Plant. Our groundwater sources, and I went into detail on those because that's some of the short-term levers we can pull. We've got our Nueces groundwater program, and then our Evangeline project, which is the San Patricio groundwater. And then the third item is seawater. We've got the Harbor Island project, so that's the Nueces River Authority project. The city of Corpus Christi has contributed to that project in the amount of a reservation fee for 50 million gallons a day. So that's one of our long-term projects, but additionally, we have the Inner Harbor Seawater Desalination Project, which we have some items going to our council for consideration next week in an effort to continue to keep that project moving forward. And then we also have, there's the Barney Davis Power Plant, which is located on the sort of the south area of Corpus Christi. That plant has been studied for years as a potential location for a seawater desalination plant, and we will be looking at that in the very near future as well. You know, one of the things that we talk about, and I talk about a lot, is our dependence on surface water. So you're totally dependent upon the climate, whether it's the western supply or the eastern supply. The graphics on the right, the map showing southern Texas, that is directly from the National Weather Service. We meet with them weekly. And what they're showing there is that basically all South Texas is in some form of drought. And then we've got the chart on the left I like because it shows the typical rainfall for the city of Corpus Christi, so we can extrapolate that to the area. A couple of things I want to point out. Annual normal rainfall is about 32 inches, and that's in a calendar year. To date, we've received approximately 16 inches. But that's 1 year. You know, as the city manager mentioned, this has been going on for 4+ years. And if you look at the monthly averages, of course, you can see the big spike in September. You know, a lot of that has to do with tropical activity, historical tropical activity. But we missed it this year. And if you look at it, it's really our next chance for some rain is really May and June. And that's what the National Weather Service has told us. It looks like and I'm not a meteorologist, but We talk to weather people a lot. Looks like we will be going into La Nina, which is a warmer winter and a drier winter for us. However, ideally that will break in February and March and we can get back to normal conditions. But the point I really want to make for our existing reservoirs to recover, it's not normal rainfall that we need, it's extraordinary rainfall. And that all that has to do with how long this drought has been persisting. So how do we get this information out to not just our customers, but our customers' customers? We have a water supply dashboard on our website. The code there, you can scan that and that'll take you to the website. But on this website is what we call our water supply dashboard. This dashboard shows our demand and how we are projected to meet our demand. There are a couple of things to note. In November of 2026, we are projected to be 180 days or 6 months away from not having enough water to meet our demand. That is something that the team, the city, Corpus Christi Water works every day to push back. We're trying to push it back with our groundwater wells. We're working to push it back with the effluent reuse project. We're working to push it back to bring Evangeline groundwater online by that date. So the charts, a couple of things to note. At the very bottom, you can see those orange bars. And the water has nothing to do with the electricity or the lights. But you can see those orange bars, and that's our eastern well field. So the graph currently doesn't include the western well field. So once we are permitted with our Bed and Banks permit and have those well fields online, we can add that to this equation, and then we can show that November 2026 mark to move out. And in fact, if we can get the Western well field online, which is the plan, and we're proceeding with that plan by May of 2026, that November 2026 date actually moves to May of 2027. And then if we get the Evangeline well field partially online by November, it moves back even more. So you're looking even further into the year. There's a couple of things to note on this graph. It looks simple, but there's a lot of information there. The graph is using rainfall amounts from 2024, which was not a good year from rainfall, but this year is actually worse. So what we're going to do at the end of the calendar year, we are going to adjust we're going to look at the rainfall and the anticipated rainfall for next year and adjust those supplies. The good thing to note, though, is we're also going to look at the demand curve. And we're working closely with our industrial customers to understand their demand needs. And then, our citizens, I'll take a moment to speak highly of the citizens of Corpus Christi. They're doing an excellent job of conserving water. So their usage is actually going down, so we can adjust that demand curve. My point is there's pluses and minuses. We're going to recalculate it. It may go up on some months, may go down, but our goal is to make it as accurate as possible. In addition to this, that's on our website, is we prepare a weekly water supply update memo. It's issued and posted every Friday. So if you ever need more specific information about our short, mid, and long-term projects, you can always go there and read the memo. It's always detailed, and it's got the latest updates as well. And with that, I know Brian Williams has his presentation, and then I think we definitely can answer any questions after that, Mayor.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Technically challenged, so try to get me there.
Good. I think that'll get us started. Can you get rid of that bald spot back there? The camera. I don't like seeing that. Mayor, council, appreciate the opportunity to come speak tonight. My name's Brian Williams. I'm the general manager of San Patricio Municipal Water District. And just kind of wanted to give you an update of what San Patricio is doing. Of course, what we're doing is dependent on the city of Corpus Christi. We've been great partners throughout my tenure here. We've gotten along well. We share information. I think the Corpus Christi water dashboard that's out there on their websites is full of good information. So I'd say go out and look at it. And I've got a couple of slides that'll be in repetition of what the city of Corpus did, but we'll just jump on into the presentation. What do I point at? There we go. Just the regional water sources for the area. Of course, Corpus Christi is the regional water provider for the area, like we heard recently. San Patricio Municipal Water District, which provides water to city of Rockport. We were created in 1951 by the 52nd state legislature. We serve several cities in San Patricio County along with Aransas County. We got our start buying water from the city of Corpus Christi through the Reynolds Aluminum Company. They put in a pipeline, a 24-inch pipeline, so we got our start back in 1952 delivering water to the city of Odom through that pipeline, and it was also serving water to Reynolds Aluminum at the time. Over the years, for the regional water sources, as previously mentioned by Nick and Peter, the western sources, Choke Canyon Reservoir and Lake Corpus Christi, eastern sources, Lake Texana and Lower Colorado River. We have access to all those sources of water from the city. Somehow it jumped ahead. Surface water. There we go. We are a system that is built on surface water. The Choke, and just it may be some repetition, Choke Canyon Reservoir right now sitting at 10.4%, Lake Corpus Christi 12.4%, so the combined lake levels at 10.9%. Also getting water from Lake Texana, I think it was 72.7%. I think it's down to 71.9% now. But City of Corpus Christi has secured several water sources or several quantities of water coming from Lake Texana. They also secured the Garwood water rights that are bringing water from the lower Colorado, another 35,000 acre foot. The City of Corpus Christi has a firm yield of 189,000 acre foot per year. And I'll mention something in just a second that will kind of get that number, put some relevance to it, but remember that 189,000 acre foot. Right now, of course, we know that we're all in stage 3, no lawn watering. With respect to the overall customers of San Patricio Municipal Water District, our potable water sales to municipal customers year over year, 9 months of 2024 versus 9 months of 2025, potable water sales, we've reduced those 13.6%. We're responding well to the drought. Industrial sales are down 6.7%. Our raw water sales, which are just a small portion of the water that we sell, have gone up 0.35%. But big kudos to the city of Rockport. I ran y'all's numbers today, and probably not good for the finance guy, but first 10 months of 24 versus 10 months of 25, y'all are down 22.4%. So y'all are really responding to the stage 3 drought contingency plan that we're in right now, and I really appreciate that. I know the area really appreciates that. I guess one number was mentioned, kind of that, I guess in 2024, y'all were using on average 3.1 million gallons a day. For this year going in, y'all are about 2.5 million gallons a day. So y'all really have stepped up, and we appreciate that. Another slide, the next slide, this is from the Corpus Christi website. And it'll just kind of give you, if you want to go out and look at that website, you can kind of look at it and get some ideas of the water, where it's, how it's coming to the city, how it's coming to San Patricio Municipal Water District, and then kind of how it comes to y'all. But the Mary Roads pipelines taking about 65% of the total water that's coming in the system. So if you look at that top number on the right, 108.99 million gallons per day that was used in September, 65% of that came through the Mary Roads pipeline, which I think agrees with what Nick had said, that that's about 71 million gallons a day of water is coming from there. Nueces River, 30%, so that's about 33 million gallons a day. And then of that water coming from Mary Roads, San Patricio Municipal Water District, if you look on the right-hand side, 13% of our water, of the total water that comes from the system, comes from the Mary Roads pipeline. And then we're also getting, we're taking 12% of the Nueces River water. So that's about 27 million gallons a day of that water coming. Plus there's some other water that comes directly to Gulf Coast Growth Ventures that comes out of the city of Corpus Christi. On average, we're probably getting about 40 million gallons a day from the city of Corpus Christi. But if you look, I guess that 108.99 million gallons a day, that equates to 122,104 acre foot per year. And that number that I mentioned a while ago, 189,000 acre foot. Statistically, we should be able to take 189,000 acre foot per year, and the reservoir should be sustainable. But because of the new drought that we're in, we're only using 122,000, but you can see how the lakes are just continuing to go down. So I think, as was mentioned, we're probably in a new drought of record. This is something more severe than anything we've ever seen before. Won't mention that graph. Nick kind of went over, well, I'll talk about it in a second. But as you can see, if you look out to about March, April of 2027, that's where the bars, the light blue, dark blue, does not meet the demand curve on top. So if you back off 180 days, 6 months before that date, that's where that November 2026 comes from, that we could potentially be in an stage 4, level 1 emergency condition. So that's how you read that graph. San Patricio Municipal Water District, what are we doing? San Patricio, we've been working with the city of Corpus. I've been down here 13 years, probably 11 years. We've been working on a desalination plan. We've gone through a lot of effort with our industrial customers, city of Corpus Christi, San Pat Water, and we were going on a path, and September the 2nd, we hit a roadblock, hit some changes. So prior to September the 2nd, for San Patricio Municipal Water District, we were looking at the development, city of Corpus Christi doing the Inner Harbor desalination plant. When they would build that plant, doing about 30 million gallons a day, they'd free up water in the Nueces River for us. So we were looking at being able to bring more fresh water from the Nueces River. And then also in the future, once the Inner Harbor desal plant was online, the city of Corpus Christi, they've also gone through the process of permitting a La Quinta desalination plant adjacent to our facility between Gregory and Ingleside. And I think they've gotten the water rights permit for that, waiting on the discharge permit. It's being reviewed by the TCEQ. But due to those events of September 2nd, we started having to alter our plan to consider that there might not be an inter-harbor desal plant. So we started looking at, I think we heard that before, some short-term, medium, and long-term options. The short-term option and we are continuing to look at it, just knowing that November 2026 date will be upon us before we know it. We are working with Port of Corpus Christi, Oxy, Commerce, our property. I'll show a slide in a minute. There's about 6,000 acres combined within those properties, and we're looking at potential of drilling some brackish water wells. We'll have to do reverse osmosis treatment, but just trying to, if the potential for a curtailment comes, that we are able to supplement some of that flow, mitigate some of that curtailment possibly. In the medium term, the LI Ranch, and I'll show a picture of it in a second, but the Evangeline Laguna property north of Sinton, if you look at it in a minute, you'll see a little cutout, couple of rectangles on the top of it. That's called the LI Ranch. It's owned by some of the O'Connor family, and San Patricio is talking with the attorney that represents those families, and we're looking at possibly doing some type of reservation with them and tying up that land so that we could develop that groundwater at some point in the future. And one of the thoughts is on that knowing that that's not going to be a whole lot of water, it's about 5,000 acres, 5 million gallons a day, the possibility that we might just reserve that for our municipal customers. We do about 30% of the water that we sell is for our municipal customers, so that may be a resource that we just hold for future growth on our municipal customers, so that we know we have water for them in the future. The industrials potential, they're usually looking for large quantities of water, and it just does not make sense in my mind that we turn that over and use it for industrial. That I think we just kind of set it in the bank for our future municipal customers. In the long term, again, the city of Corpus Christi has received a water rights permit for the La Quinta desalination plant. They're not sure, I guess, the future of how they want to pursue that. So I'll show a letter in a second, but the San Patricio Municipal Water District has sent a letter to City of Corpus Christi requesting to go into negotiations, potentially purchase those permits, and in the future develop that facility that would be 30 million gallons a day. Yep. Okay. The first alternative, short term, that I mentioned, this is it's kind of hard to tell. It's a map of it's kind of up towards the top right. That's the McCampbell Airport. It's not shaded. All that area around that is property that's owned by the Port of Corpus Christi. That's about 3,000 acres. That acreage is contiguous with some San Patricio Municipal Water District property and some Commerce and Oxy property. So if you put all those contiguous properties together, there's about 6,000 acres under the control of San Patricio or regulation, Patricio County Groundwater Conservation District. They've got a rule that you can develop 1.25 acre foot per acre. So there's a potential that we could develop, 6 million gallons a day of water, brackish water, looking at pretty high salinity content, knowing that we wouldn't have a lot of time to try to get approvals through the TCEQ. We would, if we were to do, well, I think we will move with this project. The industry's really interested in it. Probably develop these wells, RO treat the water, and probably just send it to industry, but hopefully pull all that water together so that if there is a curtailment, be able to mitigate any kind of curtailments for any of our customers. Next, I mentioned the LI Ranch, and the light green is the Evangeline Laguna that the city of Corpus Christi, I guess, has under contract and is in closing now. In the middle of that, and it doesn't look like it if you think about the green being 23,000 acres, the white area is about 5,000 acres. And we are talking with the O'Connor family on it and seeing if we can purchase the reservation for future development of that water for our municipal customers. The next, that's just a copy of the letter. I think it was out there on the internet in several places, but that's the letter that San Patricio sent to the city of Corpus Christi, and we're waiting on a response right now. Hopefully it'll be favorable. What the thought process behind that is, originally the city of Corpus Christi was permitting that for 30 million gallons a day, expanding to 40 million gallons a day. The way San Patricio develops projects, we put it on the back of new industries, hope potentially. When we did the Exxon Sabic plant, GCGV, they put up $60 million for us to build a 48-inch pipeline to serve them so that our ratepayers did not have to pick up any of those costs. It wasn't on any of the municipal side or industrial. It was on GCGV in their future. So something like this doesn't necessarily have to be 30 million gallons a day. Potentially some new industry may come in that needs 10 million gallons a day, and if they want to put up the money that it would cost to start developing a desalination plant on our side of the bay to provide water for an industry, that's one of the options that San Patricio wants to consider in the future. And that's just from the permit application itself, and kind of turn your head a little bit, but the left side of the print is north, so the little light green area on the left side, that's the location for the La Quinta desalination plant that has been planned out. Just to the south of that is San Patricio Municipal Water District, our complex, so it's adjacent to us. Makes a lot of sense to flow into our system. I know there has been some concern about some issues potentially on the back end of the La Quinta channel, which would be down towards the bottom where you see the legend block. The top of that legend block, about the middle of that legend block, there's a little red square. That would be the intake point for the La Quinta desal plant, and it would pull the water along that property line to the north, and then to the east up to the green facility. The discharge is coming out of the eastern end of that facility, the yellow line across the next property line, and it discharges towards the upper end on the north end of Oxy and Commerce, so it's on the upper end of the La Quinta channel. Cities put forth a lot of effort through their consultant, Friesen Nichols, through the application, doing a lot of modeling and proving up that the desal plant, the water discharge can be assimilated into Corpus Christi Bay without any problems. I think that's probably the last slide. I think that's it. So be glad to answer any questions myself, or I'm sure the city would too. Questions, council?
start. So we see the western reservoirs, 10%, we see that on the news, we see that all the time as part of our drought contingency plans, and we have a future item on here about water rates and what we're gonna do with that. Is there a way to bring in the eastern reservoir supply into that percentage to mitigate some of those?
Oh, that's a great question. So what we've done is previously the drought was solely, the drought restrictions were solely based on the percentage of the western reservoirs. So the current plan that we have is after stage 3 drought restrictions, there's what's called level 1 water emergency. Level 1 is triggered when we are 180 days away from not having enough supply to meet the demand. That takes into account all sources, the western and the eastern. So that's the key. So not having enough supply to meet the demand, that's the full supply, everything from the western reservoirs and the east and the wells and all the new sources we're bringing on.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I have a couple questions. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I've been jotting some notes down as fast as I could. You'll have to correct me if I wrote something down wrong, but did I hear you on the La Quinta desal project? You showed the intake on that little map there that was roughly in the center of the pink area, and then the discharge, potential discharge line, again, if that project goes through, was up kind of on the, I guess that'd be the northern side of it, and that the discharge line was just going to go back into Corpus Christi Bay there. And you'd mentioned that maybe a study or the current information at this point was that there was expected to be no negative impact on the bay and from an ecological perspective. Is that what I understand you correctly on that?
Yes, sir. And Nick may want to jump in too, but I know that some of the modeling that Friesen Nichols had done, that they looked at the discharge of, I guess, the Inner Harbor plant and the La Quinta facility, and if they were both in operation with, I guess, the water that they created as it went through the system and came back into the bay, the increase in salinity would be 0.3 parts per thousand, and the variation in salinity, I guess, on Corpus Christi Bay, I'm talking, I want to say the variation is from 17 parts per thousand to 42 parts per thousand naturally occurring. So by the development of those two facilities, the increase in salinity would be 0.3 parts per thousand.
Some of the, thank you for that, I appreciate that. Some of the residents in Ward 2 that I represent have reached out to me, and some of the information we get is off the 6 o'clock news and, some of the social media stuff. So there may be a little inaccurate information out there bouncing around, probably more than likely is, that from an ecological perspective, having the effluent discharged further offshore in some manner, be it a pipeline or in a diffuser, something like that, is what they mentioned to me, that they were hoping that somebody would be able to incorporate it into these projects. Are any of the projects right now, the Harbor Island, La Quinta, I know the other one that down in Corpus Christi is kind of being reviewed, but do any of those currently plan on using some type of an offshore diffusement system for the effluent to hopefully help with the ecological damage?
Yeah, sure, Councilman, I can speak to that. So if you look at the city of Corpus Christi Inner Harbor seawater desalination plant, the discharge absolutely has a diffuser designed in that plan, right? That's what was permitted. That's how the discharge, it's one of the key components of our discharge permit. That plant, however, it does not discharge out into the Gulf, right? That would be a substantial economic commitment to do so. and the sciences prove that it's not needed. Now, if you look at the other plants, you have the Nueces River Authority. That's the project on Harbor Island. Both that intake and discharge will be 2 to 3 miles out into the Gulf, right? And that's a big part of that project. And when I say big part, I mean a big engineering component to it. The design is complex, and of course, has cost implications as well. The Laquita project that Brian Williams talked about, you know, there's no design done. I think the initial concept was to have the same diffuser that was proposed at Inner Harbor, but there's really no design work that's been done. There's been a little bit of pre-engineering, as we call it. And then other potential, the Barney Davis site within the city of Corpus Christi, that has a location that's more approximate to the Gulf, so that would lend it to that case.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
One further question, Mayor. In areas around Houston, Missouri County, Harris County, stuff like that with the subsidence districts, I know geologically, we're not exactly the same, but we're pretty similar with probably our soil. With our increased use of groundwater, do we anticipate having any issues with subsidence?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So with any groundwater use, subsidence needs to be considered. What we've done at CCW, we're working with our consultants in Terra, and we're working on the engineering design for a monitoring system so that we can actually measure subsidence. Subsidence is a real tricky thing to forecast and to understand. One of the reasons it's so difficult is because of clay. So subsidence has a lot to do with the clay layers, and clay can be very complex. There's different types of it. The clay mineralogy it varies widely. The one thing that I can absolutely say definitively, the city of Houston relied on groundwater for 100+ years. They had 140+ wells, and they still operate wells. So the scope, the breadth of that withdrawal from the groundwater is much more substantial than anything we're talking about here in either Nueces or San Patricio County. However, we take it seriously, and we've got work to monitor it and track it and record all the data.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? We thank you so much for your time. I appreciate what you're doing. We get a lot of questions from a lot of people about how serious the water situation is, and I try to tell them it's very serious. I'm not an engineer, and I can't explain it in a lot of detail. But if you turn on your faucet and it doesn't run, you've got a serious problem. And we're looking at that possibility, not something that's likely to happen to us soon, but it's the threat that gets some people's attention. We could literally run out of water. And I appreciate you coming around and letting us know that there are plans to try to avoid that kind of thing. It will make some folks I know a lot happier. One 95-year-old lady I know that will feel really good about that because she thinks we're gonna run out tomorrow. But anyway, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming over here. We're going to take a 10-minute break because everybody's been sitting for an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm sure they can get up. But thank you. We deeply appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
I'm going to give you my card, one thing I always tell people, if you're ever in the need for help, may or may not have it, but we know how life happens, right? So please put a phone call to us.
Now that we're, so we got Brandy Brock and Bill.
Yeah.
And so we're getting to know you real well. So thank you.
Bill's a great guy. Oh, man, Bill's awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah, and we really like your thinking about mixing the whole mill field with
Yeah. Bill's he's an idea guy. He's great. He came through on our eastern well field. Those guys were unbelievable. We wouldn't be pumping any water today. If it wasn't for them. So we lined up the natural gas generators. He's pumping gas to us every day. That's great.
It's
I'll be sure to tell him.
oh, wow, yeah, no, they're wonderful.
That's great.
Somebody else.
Diane, very nice to meet you. We can talk water all day long.
Thank you so much. How are you, Diane?
Sound is still in here.
Take pictures whenever you want. Yes, well, happy to do it. Glad we could finally get it. We tried to schedule it.
We took a little break from council meetings for a while, so.
Yeah. So it's good. We got it done. I'm not gonna wait for the next one.
I don't know, we've been over it. That's happened yet.
I would have been here on time then. Thanks, Peter. Thanks a whole lot. How are you? Carrie Moore with Congressman Cloud's office. Nice to meet you. Y'all, let me know if there's anything I can do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for the questions too. That's good stuff. Oh, man. Bring it on, man.
We have got a lot of.
They don't care about it. They don't care about drainage and drought or water.
I told him you should come to this meeting. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna come back in about 6 months.
You got it. I'm on board.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
no
you.
problem. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, he's on, San Patricio. Yeah, he's our rep.
We'll keep the same.
Got you down for January.
I sure appreciate it. I'll be reaching out to you after the holidays.
How much longer? Jeff?
I've got a sneaky feeling now.
Not as long as y'all, not as long as.
Changed a few things. Oh my gosh, I think there was one time that happened.
He'll kick everybody out. He'll come home.
Yeah, we would find a way to. How are you doing?
That's good. And Ashley,
What are you gonna do with that $1 million? Do it. I'm on board. Absolutely.
there was no concert with on Friday.
Oh, really?
Good night. Thank you for coming.
Be able to see what they did.
Look forward to it. Mayor, I'm Brad Brundrett. Nice to meet you, sir.
Appreciate y'all coming.
I appreciate it too, and I'll check with.
Can I just walk in?
Well, it was good listening to all this.
Yeah.
I wish we could get 300 people sit down.
I know, it was good saying. You're exactly what is on, so. One of these days, Oh, yeah, yeah.
Who's there too, don't you? Little munchie, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, send it to me. I'll see when it comes. Cool. All right.
There's nobody gonna stay around this.
No,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
stay
gonna listen
5
to
more
the
minutes.
rest of it. I'm not gonna listen to it.
The only one.
It has been 10 minutes with everybody.
I'm gonna have a nice conversation with you. You're outside and talk.
Oh, okay. Good. I think we're gonna see y'all. Sent me a text yesterday and said, Thursday, you said, yeah, about 8:30. Okay.
I was trying to think how many I've done.
Agenda. Following items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on any of these items will be held unless pulled at the request of a member of the city council. Somebody want to pull one? I understand.
Yes, I would like to pull agenda item number 10.
10. All right. With the exception of item number 10, any other?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented, removing item 10.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? If not, I call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Item number 10, consider approval of Rockport Little Theater fourth and final quarter financial report.
Mayor, that one needs to be moved to a separate agenda.
Yes. Well, we had a motion on the rest of them. Are we gonna go ahead and look at it now? Are we not gonna do it at all?
We need to postpone it.
Did you want information on it?
I'm sorry?
I make a motion to postpone agenda item number 10 till the next meeting for further reporting.
Very good.
Second.
All in favor? Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
3,
Aye.
4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It will be on the future agenda. Thank you. Next item, ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings. Item number 20, consider the approval of resolution 2025-42R designating the Corpus Christi Caller-Times as the official newspaper of the city of Rockport pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code, section 52.004, and providing an effective date as January 1st, 2026. Ms. Goodwin.
So, I don't know if you can hear me. So,
What this is the staff is asking with the changes due to the new Open Meetings Act posting requirements of 3 business days, not including holidays and weekends. While it says 3 business days, it's actually more than that, because you can't count the day you post and you can't count the day of the meeting. So then with the newspaper going from 1 day a week, from 2 days a week printing to 1 day a week, and then their requirement of having to submit it 7 days in advance before the notice has to run, that's really created some really strict deadlines for us. On top of, it mainly affects planning and zoning, maybe zoning board of adjustments, but it really affects the budget as well. And so those also have some statute restrictions as well. So as you noticed this last year with the budget, there were some issues that came up trying to meet all the different deadlines. And with the Rockport Pilot no longer printed in Rockport, it opens a provision for us to go to the caller, the Corpus Christi Caller Times, which prints 6 days a week. That would just meet our legal requirements. We are also required by law to post every notice that we are holding a hearing for. It's required to be published on the website anyway. So we have them posted in those 2 places. But we wanted to let you know that we would also be using the pilot for our other items, like announcing the signing up for the Rockport Citizen University, which I posted today, and then board openings and those kind of things. We're just trying to find a way to meet the legal requirements and meet all the different deadlines.
Okay. Council questions?
Shelley, with the pilot being 7 days, they need 7 days prior to printing, and we have essentially 4 days, 5 days before our meeting. We're talking about, we leave this building tonight, typically on a Tuesday night. You need to have something to the pilot by Friday-ish.
If I want to run something, I don't have a calendar in front of me. So
For
for the next meeting, if I want to run something,
If our next meeting was
the 26th, there's requirements that the notice has to be in the paper for a certain amount of time. And if our meeting was on the 26th, we wouldn't make it. We couldn't publish
So
it.
we would have to,
there's certain things we couldn't make that deadline. There are some things that we could. Sorry, is this on? The biggest effect is the planning and zoning publications and notices. And it's kind of a customer service issue because we're delaying developments and things like that from being heard. The city council meetings aren't posted in the paper, they're just posted online. So there are some circumstances that if you voted on something tonight, we could not have it by the next meeting, which we've actually, I believe, run into previously. And so they're having to wait. It's a 2-week cycle. It's an extra 2 weeks, so it's technically a 4-week cycle.
is there a substantial cost difference between the 2 papers?
There is not.
There's not. And since the pilot left, it is no longer posted in the city of Rockport or in Aransas County. It's up in Goliad, Beeville, Goliad.
Beeville.
And we don't have to go to Corpus. We could go to Victoria. We could go to Goliad. But leaving the county opens us up to be able to not use the local paper. Corpus makes the most sense because of the 6-day printing and because of the proximity.
That's all I had there.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Shelley, if I understood correctly, you're gonna make the Corpus Christi paper our primary, but we still will use the Rockport Pilot for certain notifications that do work with the schedule. So we're not abandoning them altogether. We're just gonna have basically a primary and a secondary. Is that a decent analogy?
can I correct that a little bit? If we go with the caller times, all of our planning, zoning, development type notices will go to the caller times. We're not gonna sit and say, okay, we have time to get this one in the pilot. We can't do that when we designate our primary paper. Those legal notices have to be in that primary paper. If it's not a legally statute required notice, then we can put it in the pilot. But if it's statutorily required, it has to be in the designated paper. So you're kind of right, but I don't want to lead anybody to believe that we're gonna say, oh, this one makes the pilot timeline, this one makes the caller times timeline, and we'll put it in the appropriate one. If it's a legally statutorily required notice, it has to go into the designated official paper of the city.
Thank you, Vanessa. That's actually very helpful. Thank you for that.
Another thing that we can do, since they are already required to be on your website, we can add that to where the notify me, the residents or the public, whoever wants to get those, can just click on, check that, and they will automatically be sent to them.
Other questions? What's your pleasure, council?
Mayor, I move to approve the approval of Resolution 2025-42R designating the Corpus Christi Caller Times as the official newspaper of the city of Rockport.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further question? Not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4. Mayor, aye, it's unanimous. Consider approval of Resolution 2025-43R authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract between the city of Rockport and Willdan for a follow-up water and wastewater rate study in consideration of going into stage 3 water restrictions and incurring such restrictive costs from San Patricio Municipal Water District subsequent to the first Willdan water and wastewater rate study presented to council August 13th, 2024.
Mayor, if I may jump in quickly, the gentlemen here are gonna present you guys some options. The contract is listed, so that is an open option, but they're gonna go through several things. And this is not, hey, we want you to do this. It's gonna be, they're gonna show you some options, and we wanna talk about all of them. The item is written as it is so that the contract negotiation is available to you guys if you wanna do that, so.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you, Vanessa. We wanted to revisit this because we, just this week, we received an email from San Pat Municipal Utility District saying that they were going to be increasing our water cost by 7% as of January 1st of 2026. And that follows the January 1st 8% increase of 2025, for which we've not adjusted our rates accordingly. So we're already taking an 8% hit. That's on top of what they were talking about earlier. We're looking at a 20 to 30% decrease in usage, which has severely hurt our revenues in the utility fund. Yes, we do have good working capital per our audit for the fiscal year in 2024, but this that has just recently come into effect, you can see how this has really hurt our margins, and this is only as what we've seen, and as the presentations, this is only going to be getting worse and worse and worse, and possibly up to and including curtailments is what they said, which is going to really, it's rationing is what it is. And so what we're looking at is, one, we were looking at what was in our drought contingency plan, which is what Ryan has and is included in the packet. And then two, also looking at possibly bringing in, employing Willdan, who did our last rate study, and did that presentation in February, I believe, of 2024, I believe is when it was. And having him come in and do a short study, basically using using all the information, using the information that he got from the long study, just kind of updating it and then looking at what are some options that we can do now, possibly looking at some raw water pass-through costs, maybe to minimize the number of times that we have to be revisiting this study and having this be just an automatic pass-through. It's kind of like what we did with the gas. As natural gas prices would change, it would just be be an automatic pass-through. It doesn't require voting, nothing, automatically passes through, because there's going to be more and more of these. The city of Portland does this already. I also confirmed it with San Pat Mud, also with Lorenzo, who used to work there, and my wife, who used to be the finance director there as well. So they already have that set up, and so we could possibly be looking at something along those lines as well to help us during this time, because there's going to be lots of changes. But we also, in the drought contingency plan, we also have some other options available that Ryan can speak better to than I can.
And I know y'all have seen this in our DCP. I just wanted to bring it back to life because y'all voted on it, y'all accepted it, and there's some surcharges in there, that if you can see, y'all have a screen up there. Right now, we're in the stage 3, that we didn't even do the $2 per 1,000 gallons. So we forgoed that. We're not charging that. But we're fixing to move into the water emergencies, that we just heard from San Pat and Corpus Christi Water. So know that's a tool that y'all have. When Robbie talks about these finances, that we can utilize. I know we're looking into some other studies for water usage, and that comes with a big price. We've got some preliminary numbers, but we haven't nailed it down. We need to reduce the scope on some of that. But we're looking at some big money, maybe $50,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 for the study, and we don't get water out of it. So these are the things that we're having to look. If we're getting this passed down to us, then we have to figure out are we gonna be a charity and we just, eat that cost, or do we pass it on to our users? We see what Corpus is doing. We see what St. Pat's doing, and it's trickling upon us. So we want to give you all the tools that we have together and that y'all voted on, to make the best decision. And we'll keep working to try to find some more for y'all. But we just wanted to bring it to light since we had a big water talk tonight with Corpus Christi and St. Pat.
Council, you hear the problem,
Just to let you know, the drought, these surcharges, they're basically block rates, and our current utility provider Encode does not do very well with block rates. So possibly having Willdan look at these in conjunction with maybe the raw water cost, he might be able to put together something that might be more palatable and maybe work better with maybe what we have existing, and maybe with what Encode can handle, and maybe get a nice mix, and it's maybe like a good housekeeping item. He's given us a preliminary estimate of that he could do a short study for about $20,000 to $24,000 is what he thinks he can do.
On top of this, we don't need to forget that we're still issuing pool permits. We're still issuing new building permits, new meters, so those are additional items in your toolbox to take action on.
Yeah, this was just I just brought up the one. There's some other, things that we would want to bring in and talk about. But yeah, it's mostly on the building side. It doesn't make sense to build pools, but, Corpus has it in their drought, and we follow a lot of theirs. So we've kind of removed ourselves. We wanna not take the water away from our residents. So we're trying to figure out the best way to move forward.
But we also can't be a charity being a utility. We have to hold our own.
So you have options in front of you. I don't necessarily think the first thing I think we would like to see is for you to enact the drought rates and cut new pool permits. I think that's probably our ask today. I do think at some point we're going to have to bring in the professionals to restructure our tiers to do a pass-through so that if San Pat sends us our next letter at 10%, it's automatic, it goes through at 10%, and we're not talking about anybody's rate. You just get, you pay for the water you get. I think that if we take these other steps first, that might help. Or for $24,000, maybe we go straight to that. I can't say that one is better than the other. They're both gonna be effective, but I think we'll get to having Willdan restructure our stuff. It doesn't have to be Willdan. There's 2 other companies that do it, but Dan has our base information already. I think we're gonna get there anyway, eventually, because we're talking, these guys are still talking 2 years down the road. And we have a year-old water study already. 2 years down the road, we're gonna be looking at this again. So I don't know if it, I know that at some point it's gonna make sense to jump in and do that, but you guys have to decide what works for you as the council out of those items.
And certainly a pass-through should lessen the touches that we have to make coming to you for approval.
Council?
Some of my concerns, with the first ask, the pool and the drought fees. I know this is what we adopted already. I have concerns with us doing a rate, again, without a rate study. I'm
not really interested in doing that.
Yes.
That's why Willdan's on the table.
That's.
I don't wanna increase rates without a professional opinion. I think that that spend of money is a better spend than the staff time that it's gonna take to handle that in-house.
A couple of years ago, when I proposed a number, we got it wrong, and we spent a year fighting it, or discussing it with the puck. So I don't have to do that again. So I think the money is probably well spent doing another study, or to update our not very old study, but given the new parameters that we're dealing with, I think I would rather do that than some of the other things, the other options we have. Is denying pool permits and building permits, is there a legal hurdle we have to get over for those?
They're part of the drought contingency plan, so you've adopted that already.
Okay.
It's obvious we are going to be looking at things we have to do that we've never done before because of the water issue. And I think that my opinion is that we need to get what advice we can from people that are good at dealing with this and working with other people, and they know what other folks are doing and what has worked in other places. And I'm like everybody, I hate to see water costs go up, but when they send us something that says it's going up 7 cents and it went up 8, and we pass that through, after a while, you're gonna have to charge for the water. And I know that's tough on folks, but I would rather do that after a study looks at it and gives us what they can tell us that we should be planning for, because whichever way we go, it's gonna be wrong in somebody's eyes.
I mean, I have to agree with you guys. I think 20 to 25,000, if that's the estimate that you guys have. Sorry. I mean, that's gonna be, of course, cost efficient to more, like saying if we come to a lawsuit again, or for overcharging or anything like that, I'd rather do it right from the beginning and not have to get back into it. I think we will have to revisit the building permits and the pools. I think that's not something I want to take off the table altogether, but doing the study and at least having that out there and making sure that we're gonna be charging correctly first is a good first step, and then going forward from there. So that would be my opinion on that.
What's the timeframe on the timeframe on the study?
We didn't ask for a time frame. Having our base data, and he is pretty efficient, so, I'm not gonna guess, but I'm gonna say it, he's probably not gonna let it linger.
So, I mean, we're not looking 6 months down the road, it probably, I shouldn't assume.
We can't put a time on, what we're asking him to do versus, I'm not gonna say what his time frame is. I'm happy to go back to him and ask a time frame, but I'm not gonna guess.
I mean, can we make it not like a date-to-date requirement, but like we would like it to have it within a certain amount of time? I mean, he already has most of the information already, so it should be a lot easier process to get that out there.
If we get a thumbs up to go towards that,
He
then
still has
that's
to
gonna be
work-
our first question, and
Right.
if it's out of the realm of delivery and we're already out of water, it doesn't make sense. You
If
know
he
what I
says
mean?
it's gonna be
And
a
then
year,
we-
we're gonna say
have
no
to shift
thanks.
internally and come back with a better solution for y'all. And so, I mean, that would be our first question, you know, to look.
And plus then our information would be more dated, so it wouldn't warrant a short study, it'd be a full study, so, yes.
Anyone else?
I have a question, please.
Yes, sir.
I agree that, looking at the $20,000 to $25,000 potential cost for a official guidance on this is, could be, money well spent there. My question is, the current guidelines and regulations that we're operating under that require these type of, things, is there no provision for, this is simply a drought. Is there no provision already in there that allows for a pass-through? That every municipality is gonna have to do an expensive second look at a rate study just to determine, yes, we're in a drought? It just seems that there should already be a small provision there that would allow for kind of emergency circumstances. Is there nothing already there?
So
No.
not in our plan. Now, other municipalities may have it. Ours is set up as such that we have drought rates instead of a pass-through rate. Our official Willdan study added a 5% escalator because of the drought. The San Pat has been passing that on much higher. So, no, not every municipality, us, because of how we're set up. Drought rates were our answer to this.
So we could implement the drought rates, like Andrea's question a moment ago. If we implement drought rates, do we have the ability to, look through, there's several things that happen if we initiate that. If we chose to not, postpone building permits, we chose to do the rate increase, temporarily. Do we have the ability, or is it just blanket? Do we have any more flexibility there?
I think we could be a hybrid, I mean.
What's the question?
Can we forego some of the stuff in the drought contingency?
Well, we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, and we're doing it at the sec, because we're not charging,
We've cherry-picked
yeah.
what we wanted so far. There's nothing to
So-
stop us now.
Ideally, if we could get the wholesale pass-through rate,
Yeah,
that would
really
be
nice.
ideal for us to put it in our plan,
That would be really nice.
and I think that would be fine. I mean,
Yeah, maybe
we'll put it in our plan and present it, because I think we already need to make some changes.
So we could go to drought conditions, and that would alleviate some of the 7% that's coming in that. Vanessa, would that not require the second study at that point?
So if the drought rates that are on the screen right now will not require a second study. To discontinue pools, to discontinue building permits, does not require another study. To change to a pass-through rate or to adjust the rates to compensate for the pass-through that we've been given, I am more comfortable getting a professional study done. $20,000, I know it's a lot of money, but it's negligible in the cost to a challenge.
Well, we know rates are going to increase. We can see what's coming on the horizon for the next couple of years. And again, I agree with the mayor, you hate to raise rates, but when we're already looking at them, it's coming within 30 or 40 days, I guess January 1st. I'm not sure that we've got a lot of choice there without, of not implementing the drought contingency, especially if we can pick and choose and maybe to be flexible on some of the other items on there along with it. Just my opinion.
Anyone else?
What's the average residential user, gallons a month right now? I mean, I'm sorry, I hit you with the information you may not know, but
What do you think off the top? Yeah, 4 to 6, I would say, something like that.
so possibly, or So $25 extra a month on a water bill going to per an average homeowner.
Are you looking at the
I'm looking at
surcharge?
the water emergency surcharge, the state's, I'm
So
sorry,
it has
for
to be over
residential.
7,000 gallons. So if you're using 4 to
Oh,
6,
so-
you're not even getting
You
billed.
don't get a new
you
bill.
don't get any bill.
So it's not based on the recovery for the dollar amount. It's still on the curtailment side. I mean, because it's the drought contingency plan. But it's another way to the people that are going, and using that water with no regard. Then we're getting funded back. But we would definitely like the wholesale part because we send that water, pay for it and send it, and then don't, we're CSWR is some of our biggest, per month, 1,500,000, 1,400,000 gallons. And then the other water system, Copano Cove, Copano Ridge, Copano Heights.
On the development, you could also slow it down. You could do, and I'm throwing out numbers, I'm not suggesting this is what it should be, but you could say we're gonna do 2 pool permits a month. So we have 2, everybody else goes into a queue. And then we pull from the queue every month and allow 2 or allow 1, or we allow 5 meters a month and everybody else goes into a queue. Just to slow it down so we can allow the supply time to catch up, and we either come out of an emergency and let it go, or we go further in and we cut it completely. But just slow it down, not stop it.
I'm going off that, the city of Rockport's reduced 22% per, it was either Brian, I think Brian
Yeah,
said
that's
that.
Brian.
So 22%. So we're already doing a pretty good job of reducing our usage, which is not good if we're selling water, but
So,
good for
I mean-
the drought contingency plan. I just worry about,
So there's the money factor that we're trying to,
Yeah.
we're doing a good job of what we're supposed to be doing, but we're still,
We're still in the water business.
It affects the whole city and how we run it. So, I mean, you don't turn a blind eye because, you sell water. We still are out there every day enforcing it. And, so we're here, asking, what do we need to do collectively that our residents are gonna feel good about and understand, and then still with a good business decision for the city.
So I think it comes
Now,
down, hold on, Matt. There comes with the 3 things here, though. Number 1 is, I mean, I understand that, yes, you need the rates, they have to go up, they're gonna have to go up, and you have to try to recoup that money. But water will run out. So that's why this is, regardless of what you're gonna charge people, if we run out of water, you can't charge anything because you don't have water. So we do have to think of that option as well. And we are down the pipeline of where the water comes from. So that's with the building and, the pools and everything, that's such a larger conversation that I don't think that we couldn't even make a decision tonight on, because there's so many options out there that we could on. I think tonight we need to make another option if we want to do the water rate study. And I think because of past history and just how much it cost us from last time when we just went ahead and raised rates, that's where we feel more comfortable making sure we do it right from the beginning. Or we can just go ahead and do implement your drought contingency plan. So I think we just need to just kind of stick at that and try to make that decision tonight on that.
you could do both.
Yeah, we could do both. I would like to do the rate study just because of past history, and I want to make sure that we do this right from the beginning and not make a mistake again and not, disappoint our citizens again.
Make that in form of a motion.
Yes, I'll make a motion to negotiate and execute a contract between the city of Rockport and Willdan for the follow-up water and wastewater rate study.
Have a motion to have a second.
I will second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further question? Not, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye, it's unanimous.
thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Next item, consider approval of a request for a 10-foot abandoned alleyway adjacent to lots 13 through 16, Dowdy and Manning subdivision.
Mayor and council, this is an alleyway abandonment. We're doing this one a little bit different than we typically do. There's some different circumstances. The landowner has a well in our alleyway, and so we're basically gonna just allow them to take that piece of property into their property, so they're well, and we've evened it out. Typically, we make them go, everybody has to agree to take their portion of the alleyway, But, we think this is a little bit of a special circumstance. There's no real value. There's no value to us. So we're comfortable letting them have that portion of the alleyway.
Just a clerical, is it in the Downey and Mathis, or is it in the Manning subdivision? It's two separate subdivisions.
Huh,
Business 35 and 3rd Street, right off the
This would be
highway,
Manning,
across from Bloomers.
yeah.
Without having the map, I don't know what like the surveying company does.
Scroll to the right. It's
what does the plat say there?
Manning edition.
Okay, that's what it is. I apologize for the error.
We'll just call it the Manning edition.
It's,
I mean, that's just a,
it's okay.
I don't think.
Scribner's error.
Yeah, Scribner's error. I move to, approve the item 22 as presented.
I have a motion to have a second.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? Call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4. Mayor, aye, it's unanimous. Reports from city manager.
I just have two quick things, sorry. The chief is proposing a change to the graphics on the, vehicles that gets away from black, which apparently is too hot. And we're gonna go to navy, and we're gonna add the redfish, fin on the back. So I thought we had a picture in here. I apologize that we don't have that, but, I'll ask the chief to send that. My report goes on the second meeting. This is the first meeting. The chief did what he was supposed to do and put it where it was supposed to be. I'm just gonna ask him to email that out to you so you can give it a look. If no one has any big heartburn, we're gonna go forward with that. It looks nice, and, it's something we can be proud of. So that's one thing. And then the meeting in December is on the, 9th. And Shelley and I will be both gone to Nacogdoches, so we'll try to zoom in. But, I'm sure Kimberly can handle it. Kimberly can do it. Kimberly and Kimberly will both be working to run the meeting.
Multiple personalities.
Yeah, we should have a pretty light agenda. We don't have a lot coming down the pipeline, but, we'll be at a budgeting and finance seminar for us. So that's it. We'll keep it light.
Council reports.
We haven't been here for a while, so, done a lot. Harbor Haunts had, with Texas Maritime Museum, Saturday, the, 25th of October was amazing. So huge shout out to that team. There was a good turnout of kids. My own children enjoyed it. Spent the week, last week of October at TML. So had a good time up there. I do want to just put a public notification out that Christmas light installation kicks off next week and should be complete downtown by the 17th. And then lighting of the district Christmas tree is on December 21st. It's a Friday. And Christmas in the district is going to run from November 21st to December 28th. And then not to forget about Shop Small Weekend on November 29th.
Very good.
Thank you.
Ward 2.
I'd like to thank everybody that participated in the Memorial Park Halloween thing. My grandson had a great time as usual, and I know a lot of folks put a lot of extra time in there. Just a wonderful event again. Couple of years we've been to that. Also, over in Ward 2, you might be noticing some of the airplanes practicing and what have you. I did not get my update this afternoon on I think the air show's this weekend. I'll try to update everybody. Still looking through my emails for that, but I think we've got that air show coming up. Everybody go out and support that at the airport if they can.
All right. Ward 3.
Yes, Mayor. I too had the opportunity to attend TML with some staff and members of council and staff from all over the state of Texas. A lot of same problems we have here are not unique to Rockport. People have water problems a lot in our area, And it was good to hear some of the solutions some others are coming up with, and in some ways they're working through their issues. Again, like I said, we're not unique in some of these problems. Secondly, Rockport, we lost one of our great citizens, Turf, who was very instrumental in Ranges Pathways and other, he was on our P&Z and a lot of our other boards throughout the years. Great citizen of the community, member of the community, gave back a lot to us. So we'll be missing him, and just prayers to his family. And that's all I have.
Ward 4?
I don't really have anything that'll help you out, Councilman Ward 2 over there. It's the War Boards is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Kicks off at like 9:30 on Saturday with parachuting coming down. So it'll be a good weekend, and I hope everyone has a good time.
Yesterday, yeah, on the 11th, forgot what day it was. I've had a long week. Anyway, there was a Veterans Day ceremony down by the harbor, and it went really well. There were a good bunch of people there. There were a speaker that, while a biplane flew over and was smoking and making circles in the sky, stepped out from under the tent and hollered at him, told him to go away. And I guess he heard him because he went away. And that, he was a sergeant major that was retired. And if a sergeant major told you to go away, you went away, I'm supposing, because he did. But there was a good group of people out there. The speaker was from Rockport, grew up here, and was kin to Richard Dominguez and all of his relatives, and so they were all there. We had one man there that was a veteran of World War II and Korea, and he was on a walker and sat and listened to it all, so it was nice to have him there. But it was a good event, and it was well attended, and it was enjoyable. We are going to have an executive session.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Could
That's
we
okay.
move up item 24 so that the chief can go home?
We can do that. Item number 24. He's hungry, I can tell already. Consideration possible approval resolution 2025R, is there a number after that? For the acceptance of the Office of Community Policing Service Grant administered by the U.S. Department of Justice, COPS hiring program, and authorizing mayor to act as executive officer and authorized representative in all matters pertaining to the participation in this grant program. Chief Anderson.
Mayor, Council, thank you. So the council previously approved us applying for and operating this grant back in May. Since that time, the grant has been awarded to us pending acceptance, and we wanted to bring it back to council to get approval to actually accept the grant. I wanted to get into a little more detail on what the grant covers before you guys decide on what we're going to do with this. And so it's a 5-year open grant, which means that we can hire somebody 2 years from now by October, and we can still get that officer covered under this grant for the entire 3-year period of that grant. So funding issues that may come up with this, if we don't have the funding or we can't come up with the funding in the future, then there is a modification option for this grant that we can change if we want to change it to 1 officer, 2 officer, 3 officers, or nothing at all. Those modifications are possible. But in order to get to that, we have to actually accept the grant. The grant ends in September of 2030, and I'm pretty positive that if our population keeps growing, regardless of what happens, we're definitely going to need more officers. And just thinking ahead with this particular grant, it's a great opportunity for us. Year 1, this is if we hire all 4 officers on year 1, it would be, our match would be $140,000. Year 2, it would be $170,000. Year 3 would be $189,000 and 852 cents. It's a 49.99% match grant. So we would cover $499,000. Federal government would cover the other $500,000 through this 4 officers through a 5-year period. So is there any questions?
great job on getting the grant accepted. That's a tough process. Mayor, how many times have we applied to this thing?
Several. We got it twice. It was a long time ago.
It, between the two of y'all, how long have we been stagnant in basically your staffing numbers?
So we've had our current staff, it's my understanding, since 2007. We've been, we're at 26 officers. We gained one additional officer just because we had a bailiff for municipal court. So we've added one officer since, don't quote me on that, but I want to say it's been since 2007.
Been a little bit. Okay, well, again, I applaud you on getting the grant to this process and allowing us the opportunity to accept the grant. Those grants aren't willy-nilly, they take some work, some paperwork to be pushed through, and good job on getting it.
Chief, would there be an option to hire one now, one next year, one the next year, or is it?
We have many options. So if we want to get an officer to be completely covered by the grant, we have up until September of 2027.
But
If we want them covered by the entire 3 years.
okay, but can we phase in officers
Absolutely, yeah.
and still be covered up to the 2027?
Yes.
So we've got 4 awarded. If we hired one this year, hired one next year, and relinquished 2, we could do that. That's an option.
Yes,
Or any combination thereof.
correct.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Any equipment, vehicles, if you were to hire 4, would you have, I'm not say equipment, uniforms and gun, that's pretty cheap. Do we need to buy 4 more cars?
So, yeah, we're gonna need more vehicles as well, which is not covered by this grant. This just covers salary and fringe benefits.
Okay.
So the number you gave of 100 and whatever thousand.
That's not including vehicles and equipment. The equipment is not expensive. The vehicles where the cost is.
I'm glad you got it down.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I move to approve item 24 as presented.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further question? If not, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4. Aye. Mayor, aye. Good work, Chief.
And I will just add as well that if and when we get to the choice of wanting to hire another officer or 2 officers or 4 officers, we'll come back to council to get that approved prior to that happening. So we're not just gonna hire 4 officers without your knowledge, because we have to get that approved through y'all first.
Robbie and Vanessa, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to go into executive session. It is 7:14. We are in executive session.
Thank you.
Been here 2 hours?
Sorry, guys, I know it was heavy.
Okay, I'm gonna start it.
It is 7:30 and we are back in regular session.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. We're adjourned.